What's up, gamers? It's me, DJ DreamcastGuy, talking today about the rapper Soulja Boy, because that man done messed up. We're going to be diving into his crimes in another angry rant, because he's now in my territory. Today we're talking gaming and how he is just such a scam artist that he doesn't even realize that he's probably going to end up in prison for trying to make a game console. So what am I talking about? Well, if you've never heard of him, there is a very talentless guy from way long ago who made one big hit, and his name is Soulja Boy. He is a rapper with almost no talent, but he's definitely a smart businessman in certain ways. The fact that he made one successful song isn't super interesting, but since then, he's tried to capitalize on that as long as he could. But recently, he has decided to screw up in the most hilariously stupid way possible. Creating a game console is necessarily a very expensive endeavor. I mean, if you want to try and make something that's very, very fast, fun, and different, you need to put a ton of cash into it. It's not something you can just snap your fingers and suddenly have. But for some reason, it seems like Soulja Boy has decided to do that. Over the course of the last few days, he has announced not one, not two, but 3 separate different systems that he's selling for hundreds of dollars on his website. The newest one being 600 freaking bucks. And what's really weird is that if you look at the schematics of these things, they are very, very bad. I mean, these are extremely overpriced, tiny little clone consoles at best. And you can tell that what he's trying to do is completely scam people. So looking at it this morning, I was kind of confused because, to be quite honest, Soulja Boy isn't planning on making games, he's planning on stealing them, and I don't know what the heck he thinks that this is a good idea for. So if you look at the website, it talks about the fact that he's going to make a super-powered console called the Fuze, he's going to make a mid-range console, and he's going to make a handheld. Now the handheld he's claiming is going to be able to play things like PlayStation Vita games and Nintendo Switch stuff. Now, in case you're somebody who's just gotten to Earth and isn't super familiar with copyright, let me try and break it down for you. Essentially, here's how it works. First, you go on the internet and you say, can I steal a video game? Well, okay, let me look at Google right here. It says, if you sell a Nintendo Switch game bootleg, you go to prison. Well, how about that? I had no idea. So it turns out, Soulja Boy, if you were to actually try and sell Nintendo Switch games on your crappy console, you will go directly to jail and you won't collect $200. Now that alone is obviously going to get him in some very hot water because selling any sort of ROMs or any sort of emulation is going to obviously be a breach of copyright. I mean, this is a big reason to the fact that recently several major gaming websites were sued for $10 million. So I think Soulja Boy is very accurately going to probably get the same sort of court notice very, very shortly. But rewinding past that, my main issue is the fact that these systems themselves are very obviously scams. So I want to give some big props. A lot of journalists and some really creative people online are already managing to track down where these consoles came from. And it seems that most of these are actually systems that were developed by tiny Chinese companies. And the point of them being primarily to be ultra low powered PCs or Android based devices, which are good for things like, well, basically downloading illegal copies of games and playing them. I mean, that's kind of their primary purpose. But in this stuff, Soulja Boy is acting like he will finally somehow find a way to sell this legally, when let me tell you, that is absolutely impossible. Now, some of the stuff he's talking about here that makes me laugh the most is he's claiming that it will be able to play things like Super Nintendo games, Sega Genesis games, and even stuff like early PS1 classics. Now, here's the little thing. Soulja Boy, you know, today you were kind of tweeting out the fact that you got so many haters because you want to dominate the game industry. It's not that. It's that we're now in an age where everybody just wants the best deal possible. You want to be able to find a good game, play the hell out of it, and pay the least amount possible. Whereas these clone consoles originally cost about $50 each. A couple of them are like $200, and you're trying to sell them for $600. And even if that wasn't super illegal, let's just kind of get into the fact that This machine sucks. The hardware itself is extremely underpowered, and beyond that, I feel like you're lying the fact that this stuff will even function. Going through all the details on his website, he specifically talks about the fact that it will be able to run things like PlayStation 2 games and PS1 games, which I just mentioned, but here's the issue. People have already ran specifications on it, and quite frankly, that's not possible. I mean, if you manage to somehow make it where you could have a PS1 emulator and you actually put some ISOs onto it and tried to boot them up, it would run at about 3 frames per second. And that's basically the equivalent of somebody saying that they're going to sell you a superpowered PC and they end up mailing you an Atari VCS. It's not just that it's dishonest, it's flat out a scam. It is them trying to sell you something that is dramatically underpowered with a jacked up price tag. Now, Soulja Boy, I just want to give you some big tough news. I have a feeling that you're somebody who has a lot of people around them that only says what you want to hear. You're probably trying to turn a $10 million idea into $100 million in an exceedingly fast amount of time. But let me tell you, hard work is all that's going to get you there, and there are no shortcuts. If you want to try and create a budget console, you need to do it properly. Some of the designs you have here aren't necessarily completely awful. I actually am a firm believer in the idea that we could use another handheld in the market. It would be nice to have another PlayStation Vita. But you can't just freaking buy clone consoles from China, put your incredibly crappy logo on it, and charge 3 times the price. And you especially can't do this if you're going to be selling games that you don't own. Now, the highest price of your machines here actually runs on a Tegra chip that's not absolutely terrible, but the price on this is ridiculous. I mean, seriously, Soulja Boy, think about the fact that you are basically going into a car dealership, going behind the building, and finding the broken down vehicles that nobody else would buy, and trying to sell those at a Ferrari dealership. Nobody is going to get scammed, nobody's going to be tricked, and nobody's even going to pre-order this except for YouTubers like me who might just want to buy one to rip it apart and laugh at what a big travesty you have. To be quite honest, it's hilarious to even point and laugh at you for trying such an obviously awful idea. The fact that everybody around you said that this was a good plan when it is clearly going to land you in prison is hysterical to me. We're not haters for saying you suck. We're saying that this idea is so wrong on so many different levels, you are clearly out of your mind for even trying it. You are a madman, and if you manage to pull this off, it's only going to make your own prison sentence all the more hilarious. I do believe you're going to try and back out, but are you going to be able to do it in time? You know, I keep thinking about the fact that there used to be somebody that was called Soulja Boy that I liked, but then I realized that he was a Soulja Boy. I said see you later boy, because his console wasn't good enough for me, in the famous words of Avril Lavigne. To be quite frank, I believe that what happened here is the fact that he probably assumed that he could just deceive everyone and get away with just breaking a couple laws. I see this so much now where somebody gets a big old pile of cash and they think, okay, I can bend a couple rules here, a couple rules there, and eventually I'll come out on top. And if anybody tries to stop me, I've got very powerful lawyers to slow them down. When you know what? Some scenarios you can't exactly just buy your way out of. If you manage to do this and not end up in prison, I am going to seriously laugh. But right now, I think that you are very dumb and very loud about the crimes you're committing. And now you're even talking about trying to expand yourself into making an esports team, which is even more hysterical. You're probably a guy who played Call of Duty once, got some wins, and thought, oh yeah, I'm going to be famous and get rich off this. And you just don't got the news, the know-how, the knowledge. You ain't got nothing that you actually need in this business. But thanks for playing. Soulja Boy, you may have gotten famous for trying to Superman that hoe, but now you're just absolutely not going to cut it. Thanks for playing, thanks for trying, there's the door, get out. But what do you guys think about it? This console is so funny, I just have to freaking rip into it because it's just so dumb. Do me a favor if you want, give this video a like, share it somewhere so we can all laugh together, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Okay, I'm going to regret this, but I actually made a promise on Twitter that I would release a secret rap video I made if my Twitter got a bunch of followers, and it did. So what follows is a previously never seen before Red Dead Redemption 2 rap. There you go. You're gonna hate me forever. Like this video. I'm gonna go dig my own grave. Yeah, this is the Red Dead 2 battle rap. You ready for this? Man, I should probably edit this out. Let's see how this goes. Alright, you ready? 2018. His name is Arthur Morgan. This man looking for skin. He'll grab you by the booty if that's what he's gotta do. But you know what really matters? Getting that paper through. He'll rob your train, shoot you in the face, but no matter what, you better brace yourself. Because, you know, he may be acting brave, he may be seeming cool, but really, he's just a man trying to avoid the grave. Oh no, this is the dope. I don't know why. I legitimately wrote a rap. What am I trying to do in my life? Nope. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.